Welcome back. It's definitely not definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
We're just, a little rambunctious couple in love. Loves reacting to some RWBY.
This feels so lighthearted for like the state of RWBY right now.
Yeah, I wanted to, I thought about it. Also, I'm like, maybe should I be really intense about it? Because this is the finale for season 3. And, but like, I'm like, no, you know what? We're going to be chill. We're going to go into this. We're going to have high hopes that the RWBY team's going to be able to wrap things up. Yang's going to be patched up. Maybe not by the end of this season. She might need to, she might still have a nub at the end of the season.
I feel like this is the type of season. Like I'm with you. I want to be optimistic. I want to feel like things are gonna wrap up in our favor. But this does have the feeling of a season where, like, it's kind of the end of
Innocence.
Yes, that. I was also gonna say the end of Empire Strikes Back, where like the heroes don't win. And they've won after season 1, they've won after season 2. Sure, there've been bigger threats and it's not all over, but like they've had victories. And I don't know, it kind of feels like going into this that we're going into the end of Empire Strikes Back and the Frozen and Carbonite situation.
Or the Half-Blood Prince with Dumbledore.
Or that.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I try to bring it up. I try to bring it up, and then my glass half full optimist wife just completely brought me down. So anyways, yeah, Volume 3, Episode 12, RWBY. Woo! Let's do it! Yay! Death and destruction! The new world is coming!
Does have this sort of like feel to it.
Yeah. So you can do it because you got the hair.
Well, grow your hair out like Wayne from Wayne's World. I'll go as Garth, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are some hair goals for you. Just gotta get the mullet.
There'll be no.
Ooh, I'm trying to bring back the energy up because you brought it down. You brought the room down.
It's not that I brought it down. I just
every party has a poop, but that's when we invited you.
You were lighthearted. I'm intense right now. It's not that it's down. It's very.
This is intense.
Yes.
Intense right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. If that's not happiness, I don't know what is.
Sure, baby.
Okay, now we're gonna see Ozpin in action. Ooh. Holy shit, you just Matrix that shit. Stab.
He did. She's formidable, but damn if he isn't holding his own.
Mm-hmm. Holy crap.
He can float his little orb of protection? That's nice.
That's it. Everybody on board. This is a mandatory evacuation.
A safe zone has been established in Vale. Please, remain calm and listen to Atlas personnel.
That fight, like, when we were talking about Harry Potter, it made me think of, like, Dumbledore versus Voldemort.
RWBY!
You finally get to see Dumbledore in action. You finally get to see Ozpin in action.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
What's going on? Weiss? What is it?
No.
Yay.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yang.
Hey. She's gonna be okay. The soldiers have a ship ready to take you guys to Vale.
But John and Pyrrha are still missing. Ugh. What?
Look, guys. That giant Grim keeps circling the school. Even the White Fang are pulling out. We all have to go, now.
We're not leaving.
Ugh.
I'll find them.
Yeah.
I'll find them and
That's
I'll bring
fine.
them back. No,
We'll find
We
them.
will find them.
There you go,
Hell yeah.
Weiss.
Watch after Blake and Yang. We'll be back.
That's why I stay with Yang.
Idiots.
Or heroes. It's a fine line between heroism and stupidity.
Okay, I think I have Glinda's number. Where is it?
Don't go back in there.
What was all of that?
Can you guys talk about this later?
But, Ozpin.
There's no time. Go. Get to Vale and call for help.
Huh? What are you gonna do? No.
You don't have a chance,
Pyrrha.
Pyrrha.
You can't. You saw how powerful she is.
Yeah.
Pyrrha, I won't let you do...
I feel like this is goodbye.
I'm sorry.
Hey! Wait, stop! Stop! Pyrrha, please don't do this!
Holy hell.
It's Sean! Where are you?
Weiss! Please, you have to stop her!
What?
Pyrrha! She's going after that woman at the top of the tower! She doesn't stand a chance!
Sean, what are you talking about? Where are you?
Don't worry about me! Please, you have to save Pyrrha.
We will. Are you okay?
You're supposed to go get help, dude.
Sean? Sean!
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice dramatic moment, but was it necessary to break the
Yeah.
phone?
I have a plan. You always do.
We gotta take down one of these jerks. At least one. Give us that much of a win.
Well, Clockwork Orange dude got eaten.
I'm not convinced he's dead.
This is your home now.
Good entrance. Oof. Nice move.
Damn, Perry, you're doing that without Autumn's powers? And she's got him?
Yeah. And she's just a student.
That's cheating. on, Puri, use all your power.
Oh,
there
shit.
You go. There we go.
Nice.
Container. And then let her melt herself down. Shoot.
You need to get up there fast.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Running up the side of a building? Awesome.
Oh shit.
The heel.
Oh, and the Achilles.
No.
It's unfortunate you were promised a power that was never truly yours.
It's not yours either.
But take comfort in knowing that I will use it in ways you could never have imagined.
Evil
that.
ways.
Do you believe in destiny?
Yes.
Oh my god. What the hell? Huh. She's erasing everything.
It's all right. I got you, kiddo. I got you. Nothing. Just turn it off. Without the CCT, there's no point.
Communication down across the entire kingdom. No way to contact the outside world. And Ozpin's still missing.
Yeah.
This is bad, Crow.
Yeah. This is bad.
RWBY! You're awake!
Who are you?
What happened?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing.
Your Uncle Crow found you. Unconscious. He got you out of there, though. He brought you home safe.
Wait, Yang! Is she alright?
She's gonna be alright. I think it's just gonna take some time for her to get used to things.
Yeah.
She's too strong to let this stop her.
Pura.
I'm just glad to have my girls back at home.
What happened to the school? And Vale? Were they able to clear out the Grim?
Things at Vale are under control, but the school, it's not that simple. That thing, whatever it is, doesn't seem to be dead. Don't get me wrong, you did a number on it, but it's not disappearing. It's kind of frozen. I know that doesn't sound too bad, but it keeps attracting more Grim to the school.
I did what? You said I did a number on it. What do you mean?
Look, that's not important right now. We can talk about it later. Things are just kind of a mess.
It's always a mess.
What's the last thing she remembers?
Mind if we have a minute?
What, I can't stay here?
Ty, please.
I'm glad you're all right. I'll go make us some tea.
So, how you feeling?
I kind of hurt all over.
That makes sense, after what you did.
You guys keep saying that I did something. What are you talking about?
What's the last thing you remember?
I ran up the side of the tower, and when I got to the top, Pyrrha!
Yeah.
Is she?
She's gone.
I got to the top, and I saw Pyrrha and Cinder, and then everything went white.
Anything else?
I remember my head hurting.
The night you met Ozpin, what was the first thing he said to you?
I don't know. I think it was something about
Silver eyes. That's an extremely rare trait.
So?
You're special, Ruby. And not in the daddy loves his special angels. You're special the same way your mom was. Remnant's full of legends and stories. Some of them true, some made up. But there's one Oz told me from a very long time ago. Back before Huntsman, before kingdoms, it was said that those born with silver eyes were destined to lead the life of a warrior. You see, the creatures of Grimm, the most fearsome monsters mankind had ever encountered, were afraid of those silver-eyed warriors. They were the best of the best. It was said that even a single look from one of these fighters could strike a Grimm down. It's a ridiculous story.
But you think that I might be?
Well,
You know you are.
a giant monster's currently frozen on top of Beacon Tower, and you're here, safe in bed.
Wait, how did you know what Ozpin said to me the night we met?
All those missions I go on, all the times I'm away in some far-off place, it's been for Ozpin. But he's missing now. Something's been set in motion. And with Oz gone, I'll have to pick up where he left off.
Then what can I do? If I'm so special, then I can help, right?
You really want to help? Get some rest. You're in no condition to go anywhere right now. Besides, our enemy's trail leads all the way to Haven. That'd be quite a trip for a pipsqueak like you. Catch you later, kiddo.
Or what happened to Cinder?
Yeah, she's definitely still alive. Oh yeah.
Ruby.
I'm so glad you're okay.
But I'm not.
Yep. Now she may all jaded and bitter.
It's all gone. The school, Penny, Pyrrha, and...
Yang, where are Weiss and Blake?
Weiss's father came for her.
What? What do you mean?
No one outside of Vale knows what happened here. Before the tower fell, the last thing people saw was Atlas attacking innocent people and Grimm destroying the city. Everyone's scared. No one knows who to trust. So Weiss's father came to take her back to Atlas, where he thinks it's safe. She's gone.
What about...
And Blake ran. Sun saw her go. After we got to the city, she just ran.
But why?
thought she was trying to protect you.
I don't know.
Protect all of you.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
There has to be a reason she...
No, there doesn't. Sometimes bad things just happen, Ruby.
So what do we do now?
You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna lie here.
Yang.
No.
Just leave me alone.
You're both right. Sometimes bad things do just happen. But Ruby's right that there's a
I
reason
love you.
Blake would do that.
I mean, from fall to winter, you guys never raked the front yard.
Hey.
Oh, Jean.
Hey, John. Haven's a long way to go.
I know. It's the only lead we have.
And you're sure you want to come along?
The journey will be perilous. And whether we'll find answers at the end is entirely uncertain.
But we wouldn't be here if we weren't up for it. Then let's get started.
A smaller, more honest soul. It's true that a simple spark can ignite hope, breathe fire into the hearts of the weary. The ability to derive strength from hope is undoubtedly mankind's greatest attribute. Which is why I will focus all of my power to snuff it out. How does it feel? Knowing that all of your time and effort has been for nothing.
Cinder.
That your guardians have failed you. That everything you've built will be torn down before your very eyes.
We will rebuild.
Your faith in mankind was not misplaced. When banded together, unified by a common enemy, they are a noticeable threat. But divide them, place doubt into their minds, and any semblance of power they once had will wash away. Of course, they won't realize it at first. Like you, they'll cling to their fleeting hope, their aspirations. But this was merely the first move. So you send your guardians, your huntsmen and huntresses, and when they fail and you turn to your smaller soul, know that you send her to the same pitiful demise. This is the beginning of the end, Ozpin. Oh. And I can't wait to watch you burn.
Who the hell are you? There's no way that was 27 minutes.
I mean, I feel like that was Ruby's mom because, like, it focused on her grave and then she was...
But she had red eyes, not silver. Why does she
True.
have silver eyes? Because I had
Was that
the
just
same...
Cinder changed? Was that, like, Cinder, like, with a different... Oh, I just thought maybe, like you know, the whatever Ruby did to her, like, changed her or something like that. But yeah, I mean...
Could have. Yeah, we don't know.
Maybe, because, like, I mean, I thought the voice was familiar, but I don't know.
The voice was familiar.
That was, like, he kind of knew Pero was going to die. Or he had a strong inkling.
I didn't know it until she was shot in the Achilles. And then I was like, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I do wonder what she meant by, do you believe in such a thing as destiny?
Yeah.
Like, that just felt like a very sort of, I don't know, like you hear stories about how people before they die will say something that, like, in hindsight, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, they knew, or you know, something like that. And it just kind of had that feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was supposed to be calling back to something in an earlier season that I just haven't remembered, or she is aware of something that we as the audience don't know yet, that she always knew this was going to happen. Like, she did feel very much this season ready for self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
She was going to take on the powers of Autumn. She was going to lose herself. Like, there seemed to be a change in her that was an acceptance of self-sacrifice being a thing she was going to have to do.
And also like how the opening credits kind of like foretold all this, where they're all separated, like they're all like, together, like swirling down, then they all get separated. And then the end shot of them, obviously all sad there at the end. Did have that feeling as like the season got on more and more. I was like, okay, they're going to be like, going their separate ways after this. I thought Yang and RWBY might still be together somehow. I'm like how are they going to separate Yang and RWBY? And I guess that's how they do it, is by separating a part of Yang. And so definitely a downer note to end on. Like you're right. It had, down to the whole Luke losing a hand and Yang losing the arm. Like definitely has that Empire Strikes Back feeling.
And very much the Harry Potter feeling. Like, I just keep thinking about that. I think it's, what is it, like film 5, book 5, where all of a sudden, like, the Ministry of Magic is defaming Dumbledore and like saying all these terrible things about him, and by proxy the School of Hogwarts, and people are like not sure whether or not to send their kids back. And then there's talk of like, Harry's getting all that Voldemort's not real. You're making this all up from his fellow classmates and like dorm mates.
Yeah. Order of the Phoenix, I think.
Yeah. So it definitely has that feeling of like, which is very true. Like, all hope is lost until, as they said in this, that spark ignites the flame that set things in motion again, back on the right path. But this definitely has the feeling of like, we are in the all hope is lost phase.
What do you think Ozpin did? Pissed somebody off really bad.
I don't think Oz directly pissed someone off to do all this. I think this is, look, when people do terrible shit in the world, it usually comes down to follow the money. Like, that's what people do. And I just feel like this is a power grab. This is people who are like, we're going to change the world because we don't like the way the world is because we're not in power. So we're going to change the world. It feels like, I don't know what like the dollar currency is in the world of RWBY. So I'm replacing money with power. But in our world, money typically equates power. So that's my feeling, is it's not so much a personal vendetta on Oz as like the big issue, but it's more of we want to flip the general world order because it doesn't favor us and we want to be in control. Oh.
Yeah, the creator. So freaking young.
Yeah.
That's just insane. Crow looking after his niece.
Oh.
Okay.
What about you? Do you think Oz did something to piss someone off?
Yeah, I think Oz did something kind of like, again, going back to the Harry Potter analogy, with Dumbledore. Like, Dumbledore sort of had like a little bit of a darker past, and like Harry started to find out after his death. And then there were some things that like he did like in seeking power that maybe weren't the best, weren't so altruistic, including like, sort of discarding a little bit of his family and
his sister.
Yeah. And so I feel like that might be something that Ozpin did as well. And, maybe it was for the greater good, and, you tell yourself it's for the greater good. But like, in order to create change, and in order to make the world a better place, like, you do need to be in a position of power. That at least a lot of people that's what people tell themselves, And that's what, like, that's why the best villains are the people that like think that they're trying to make the world a better place, but they're just going about it the wrong, the complete wrong way, or whatever. Or like Adam himself, like he needs to, humans need to be taught a lesson and wiped out, or whatever, because like of all the pain and suffering that they've inflicted. Like now it's their turn to feel that. And so I think Ozpin, to a lesser degree than that, he's not an asshole and, dick like Adam, but might have done something a little bit that was not on the up and up, and sacrificed somebody else's well-being or like, stepped on some people on his way to the top.
As you were talking about people kind of going for the power grab because that's what they need to make the world better, until you got on Adam, because I almost feel like this is an insult to this particular character to compare him to Adam.
So we'll leave him out of this.
But I was actually thinking of Magneto. Like,
that's who I was thinking of too.
Was it really?
Yes, I swear to God, but I didn't go there. But like I was thinking of Magneto. But okay, go for it. We're on the same page for sure.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, Magneto is one of those. What makes him such a great villain is the fact that when you understand his background and when you understand what the X-Men or the mutants, I should say, are up against in the fear response that humans are doing, you understand him. And at times even go like, like Professor X, like I get what you're saying, but I don't know, Magneto's kind of got a point, and maybe his way might be more effective. Like the dueling powers of Professor X and Magneto are so great because they both inherently actually want the same thing, which is peace and safety for mutants. But they go about it on such opposite ends of the spectrum and in such completely polarized fashion that Magneto is great because you understand him, you kind of agree with him, you like him, but you hate his methods.
Well, we don't know Blake's past yet, and what has changed him for that as well. But
you
like
mean Oz? You said Blake.
No. I mean, sorry. We don't know Adam's past yet.
True.
So when you think of like Professor X and Magneto, you think of Adam as Magneto and Blake as Professor X, in the sense of like,
But he's a woman beater, so like he's just.
Yeah, I mean, like he's not like look, he's not as cool as Magneto by any stretch of the imagination, but in that sense of one's thinking that like the only way to get change is like when you see. From Magneto's perspective, when you see what humanity is capable of, and when they have fear and they have prejudice, and it's kind of hard to change that outlook and think that, okay, well, no, that we're going to fight that with love and tolerance, and hope that they will change. It's like, well, I know what they're capable of, and so that's why they did such a great job with that.
I mean, you see that now with people against people. Like people know what people are capable of.
Yeah.
And you want to like. Yeah, love and light and zen your way out of all that. But when you're up against people who are truly violent and truly have sort of a bloodthirsty nature or a fanatical mentality, it's very hard to yourself not have a fear response because it's freaking scary.
But tying it back to Ozpin, when you think about that and you know what people are capable of, you're like, okay, I might have to do some shady shit to get into power, but I know who I am, and I will be a better person in power than the other people that are doing shady shit and are going to make it like even worse in this world. So it's like it's a slippery slope where when you go down that path and you're just like, okay, well, I want to get into power because I want to make the world a better place, and I know the people that are trying to get power are those unsavory characters, and so you got to fight fire with fire, and you got to be unsavory yourself. But yeah, I mean, there's more to talk to in this. I don't want to get, we've talked a lot about Ozpin. We should talk about, I'm worried about Yang and the next season. She needs to go on a journey, yes, but I'm just like, I just hope she is able to bounce back quicker than I fear. I fear like, like she's gonna be like in 2 seasons of just like being depressed Yang and like being like, oh my God, like I'm over emo Yang.
I hope not.
So I hope it doesn't go there, but that's what I'm worried about.
I think we're gonna have some of that.
Yeah, which you need to have character growth. But.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't lost a limb, but I can only imagine the devastating effect that must have on someone, let alone someone whose identity was wrapped up in their ability to fight and use their hands. Mm-hmm. I think that is the difference between RWBY and Yang in a lot of ways, is that I think if this had happened to RWBY, she would still be RWBY because her identity isn't wrapped up in her fighting powers. Her identity is bigger than that. She recognizes the pieces within herself, one of which is a badass fighter, one of which is an incredible leader, one of which is a good friend. Like she knows all of this about herself. But I think for Yang, her entire identity, her confidence, her entire swagger comes from the fact that she cannot be messed with, that she is that good.
Yeah.
And so you take that away and it's kind of like, what's left? You know, and I'm sure if you talk to Blake, if you talk to Weiss, if you talk to Ruby, they would say all these other amazing things about Yang that are outside of her fighting abilities. But right now, Yang doesn't know that about herself. And telling her that in this moment is going to fall on deaf ears. She has to find it. When
it comes to Pyrrha, and like we both had her in our top 5 favorite characters.
Yep.
After each season. And so I couldn't believe when it happened. And it was one of those things where I'm like, but why isn't this affecting me as much as it should for like how favorite of a character that she was for me? I think part of me was when she kissed Jean goodbye and said that, I was kind of waiting for it and it was building up to it. I think the other part was that in a lot of ways she was like Yang, where she was like this like perfect character and had so much going for her. And like, you know, she was, you know, the best fighter and, you know, super powerful and, you know, always did the right thing. She's not one of the, you know, the core of, I guess, you know, the RWBY gang, the foursome. And I'm like, where could they really take her character after this? And I'm sure there are different things they could have done with her, but I think that also part of me was like, okay, one, going back to the whole thing of destiny, and like she thought this was her destiny the entire time. There was always sort of like, it was leading up to this season of something's going to happen with Pyrrha, and like there's this fate element of it that she is not going to make it. And whether it was something going wrong with, you know, the transfer of the Autumn thing and like her changing her personality and making her a different person, like we were going to lose Pyrrha one way or the other this season. And I think that was sort of like you felt it, and that's why I feel like at the end there, when it did happen, I wasn't as broken up as I would have thought I was going to be, but because you kind of just like a sense of knowing that it was destined to be that way.
I'm really glad she got to say goodbye to Jean. Like that was one thing when the transformation was happening, and you even said at the time, like, oh, she didn't even get to have any like final words with him. I think what I really liked about the way that they kind of choreographed the drama of her final moments is they gave us sort of that like, okay, we've grabbed your heart. Like her kiss with John, it's like, we've got it. We're holding on to it. But the moment of like breaking our heart and that actually happening to Pyrrha, they switched so quickly to Ruby so that you could see her like explode. And then you're so wrapped up in that, that as an audience member and as a crier, as you all know if you watch this channel, I really appreciated that because it didn't suck me down into like the tears and the like, oh, I'm gonna fall into a puddle. But it had the effect, even though I didn't actually cry, but I had to, like many of the characters, if they were in that scene, pivot to Ruby and like, oh my God, now Ruby's in danger and something's happened to her. Like they did a good job putting you in the scene as a spectator and giving you all the feels of it without like, oh, we're gonna like draw this out and we're really gonna make you feel the gut punch and we're really gonna sock it to you as our audience members. Like, no, like you put me there, you made me feel it all. I felt powerless and awful, but I also didn't have time to fall into a mess. Like I had more characters to focus on. So as an audience member, I really appreciated that because it did put me there. It just didn't manipulate my emotions as an audience member to that extent of like, oh, we really need to like make him cry.
So I guess we're gonna get more of Weiss's dad next season since like she's now off with him.
Yeah, and her sister dynamic, I would assume. Yeah. I was surprised that the sister didn't come back in the very end stuff because I was expecting her to show up.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of an oversight.
Yeah, or I mean, who knows? I can't remember where she went off to, like where we left her after she had that heart-to-heart with Weiss. I mean, maybe she said she was going back home to Haven and that would have explained it, but that piece of information just didn't stick with me enough for me to go like, why isn't she back with her sister and all these other people? I am worried about Blake, and I'm
worried about her going back to Adam.
Well, there are two people who I'm worried about going into it, but one of them they've kind of shown. I was going to be really worried about Jean because with what happened to Pyrrha, and I know that he was incredibly torn up about it, but also the knowledge that he was tasked with defending. And he turned his back and he didn't defend, and that's when everything fell apart. It is not his fault.
No.
But I would definitely expect a normal human response to be, oh my God, it's my fault. Because I think you just naturally feel like, oh, I could have done something. I could have stopped it. Like people say that all the time. Like if I had just been there, I could have done something. 9 times out of 10, that's completely not the case. Like you couldn't have stopped the car wreck. You couldn't have stopped somebody being hit by a bus. Like 9 times out of 10, you being there would probably not have made a difference. But we as humans just have that inherent belief that like, oh, if I was just there, I could have done something.
Yeah, and like at the time, you know, I'm screaming at John and being like, "You idiot! What are you doing? You're supposed to keep guard and everything. You know, you're supposed to defend her and everything." And like, because I'm a spectator, I know this is a story. I know what's gonna happen. Like, I know that something bad is gonna happen. If someone tells you to protect something, and I know that's
there's a reason.
What Cinder is after. Like, there's a reason for that. But then putting it like, you know, in John's shoes, like being in John's shoes and whatnot. Like if Bethany was in this chamber, I didn't know what was going on. Then all of a sudden she starts screaming in agonizing pain. I'm not going to sit there and be like, all right, better make sure no one hurts her while she's getting just screaming and yelling and crying. Like, no. I'll be cool here with my shield. No, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to be worried about her just like John was. And so like, it's a completely natural reaction. Do not blame him at all for that. You know, even at the time, like I said, that was just like one of those things where like, you know, you just are in the moment and you're watching like, no, what are you doing? Because you want everyone to be safe.
But I will say the one thing that I mentioned in terms of like we already saw somebody was we did see Jean at the end of this, and that gave me hope because he was there with Ruby.
Yeah.
He was like, let's go get this done. So whatever he is going through, it's not stopping him from picking up the torch and carrying on and going forward with the mission, with the objective, being there for his friends, doing this thing. So like that, in my mind, I was like, okay, I know he's probably not in the best state of mind right now. And of course he's not, but like he's a functioning Jean. Even if he's not a happy Jean, he's a functioning Jean. And that might be all that we can hope for in this particular moment. Blake, on the other hand, has disappeared. I think she's probably having the opposite response that John is having in terms of like, if she hadn't been fighting Adam, then Yang wouldn't have been her. Yeah. If she hadn't been in love with Adam at some point, then Yang wouldn't have been her. If she had done something, she could have saved Yang. She was there. Like, I think her response is that she is kind of like self-imploding on herself a little bit right now. She's running away. She's hiding. And that scares me a lot more for Blake's journey going into season 4, because I think they said something in there about at the very end, you know, people when they're unified are a formidable force. They can make strides. They can make a difference. They're scattered, but it feels like, and we don't have it confirmed, but as far as we all know, Blake is entirely on her own.
Yeah, and you get that, like, why... I mean, with just one swipe of his sword, Adam was able to do exactly what he said he wanted to do, which is just, like, take away everything that she loved and cared about and, like, now make her on her own and alone, because now she's afraid that if she stays with the people that she loves, that she's putting them in danger. And so it's sad to see, and, you know, it's not the... you want to tell her that that's not the right way, but at the same time, you know, like, I mean, I can't blame her for it. Some questions that I have going into next season, obviously, are who was that lady at the end?
Yeah.
And, you know, was it Cinder? Was it like Ruby's mom? Was it like, who is that? And like, what is her relationship to Ozpin? I don't want this answered, but these are my questions I have. I do want to answer it. I don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. If we're not supposed to know, then don't tell us. If we should know, then tell us.
Exactly. If something we missed, then yeah, tell us. But is Clockwork Orange dead?
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't know. I'm so jaded from things like Game of Thrones and all, where like, this sounds horrible, but like, if I don't see a body, if I don't see him dead, I no longer believe that he's really dead. I'm always there like, I mean, yeah, I would think being eaten by a giant parrot would probably kill you, but like, I don't know. There might be a trump card I'm not thinking of, and they're going to bring him back.
Who are your 5 favorite characters from this season?
Well, I mean, Pierre is definitely still in there. Ruby. Zwei.
Of course. Yeah, you need Zwei.
Those are easy to say. The rest get tougher. Weiss. I'm going to put Weiss in there as 4. 5 is tough. I mean, because part of me thinks about like the general guy because they make us really dislike him. And then at the end with like
Yeah.
his torn up Rambo style shirt and he's all in there doing these badass moves and
He's half robot or whatever. Is it like, yeah.
So like I feel like he gets a special mention, but I don't know if I'm invested enough in him. Like I was so thrilled with him in the last couple episodes, but I don't know if I'm invested enough in him as a character and a person to put him in my top 5.
Yep.
Jean for Jean's growth, I think, is probably going to round out my 5th spot because he's grown so much as a person. I am heartened by the fact that he seems to retain who he is despite what happened with Pyrrha. And I also love that he was there for Pyrrha and that it took Pyrrha literally shoving him into this, I don't know, like this flying storage locker, whatever it was, to get him out of there because he never would have left her.
Ruby, Weiss, Pyrrha, for sure. Top 3 for this season. And then it does get tough. I really loved that last scene Ozpin finally unleash and go after Cinder. Favorite is gonna be tough to say for this character, considering she killed another one of my favorite characters. But Cinder just was so enjoyable for so much of this season and affected me and in different ways and was just, played such a big part that like I have to put her on the favorite list in there. And now that she's not necessarily a character that I love to hate right now, but she's not a character that I'm rooting for, but she's a favorite in the sense that I want to see more of her and I don't want her to be dead because I don't want her to be over like that. Maybe because I want more payback from her. Maybe because I want, her to suffer a little bit more for what she did to Pyrrha. But she's an interesting character. And so that's why she makes there in the top 5.
I think with Cinder, it's like whenever she shows up on screen, you're like, oh, this is going to be good.
Exactly.
You don't know exactly in what way, and it doesn't mean that like you're going to feel good about it. Like you don't feel good about Pyrrha dying, but that scene, that battle was a good scene. So like she shows up on screen and you go, oh, this is going to be interesting. Like this is going to be good.
If this was live action, every time you would say like when the actress came on, she has a commanding presence. She like commands the scene and takes over and like you just like your eyes are focused on her and like you want to know what is she doing.
Yep.
And so so that's why she makes the top 5. And then I think Jean makes it in there for stepping up to the plate in a lot of different ways. For being there for Pyrrha when she needed just someone to talk to and a shoulder to lean on, and then jumping in after her. And John had a lot of growth this season. The award for worst dick or biggest dick, or I don't want to say biggest dick. I don't give him a compliment.
For the micro dick. For the micro dick / biggest asshole.
For biggest asshole, and you just want to punch him in the face. Adam, good job. You make it.
Yeah.
We love to hate you. We love to hate you, Adam.
We do.
That is someone we love to hate.
He's got kind of like an early season Cersei Lannister thing about him where like he just like...
He's not, because Cersei Lannister was still likable. I just want to punch this dude.
Yeah. I was going to say like that thing where like... Because when Cersei was at her worst, like she would come on screen and like you'd almost feel, I want to say like kind of like a cat. You know when a cat sees a threatening thing and like their shoulders come up and their fur sticks on it and all that. Like when Adam comes on screen, like it has that effect. And like, like you feel it in like your cells that you're like, oh, like this guy.
Yeah. So he gets most punchable face. Making up awards as I go here. The Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego award goes to Blake. I thought that she was just very absent in like the latter half of this season. And there's stuff with Adam came up and that was good. But like it was just like a sliver here of her stuff. Like it was like in the beginning and the end and like in the middle of that. There was a lot of like not Blake. I think there was a couple episodes where she just wasn't there like at all. Like she didn't even make an appearance. So I hope they add a little bit more to her character.
And even when she was on screen at times in this season, it did feel like she was like pulling away from the group. Like she was physically present, emotionally absent. She just did not seem as part of the team as she'd been before, or have the same sense of camaraderie or unity. It did feel like she was pulling away on her own more and more in this season because of everything that was going on with her internally and emotionally. But you could tell that she was not, I mean, she's always been a bit distant, but she kind of gotten over that and she kind of fell right back into it, but kind of deeper.
Yeah.
Also, I will special mention this because I have a feeling it might come back in the next season. Green hair chick. Emerald. As they are destroying the city, she had the response, it's almost sad.
Yeah.
And she did look like, God, this isn't really what I was hoping for. So like Cinder's reveling in it, Mercury's reveling in it. They're sociopaths, they're psychopaths, they're nut jobs. They love seeing people in pain, but she actually looked like, I don't think this is what I signed up for. So I predict that's going to come back into play. And I'm going to special mention her for not being a complete psycho.
Okay. She gets a special mention for the not complete psycho award.
Yeah.
Goes to Emerald.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we had some big psychos in the season. So like her getting that thing, it's like to not be a psycho, the bar was pretty low. Like it was easy to not be a psycho. But when you're in the psycho group, she was the only one who wasn't on that bandwagon.
Yeah. Now you'd think that because of her semblance that she would get the fake ass bitch award since she's like able to make everyone look at something that they aren't actually seeing. But that award actually goes to Mercury. He's being a fake ass bitch because I thought he had cool ass shoes. And I thought those are the reason that like no metal could like ever hurt him or whatever and anything. But no, he just got metal legs and he's he's asshole and yeah, he's a prick and he's a fake ass bitch. So that you get that award, Mercury.
Yeah, I think prick and fake ass bitch works for him. Okay. I don't know about asshole. Like that seems kind of reserved right now for Adam. Like Adam seems to own that.
Yeah, he's
title.
the ultimate a-hole. Yeah.
But I think this also shows like an interesting, a broader context, just the idea of like believing in a cause, going for that cause, which is all a good thing. Like we all have ways in which we believe people will prosper, people will be happy, the world will be better. And like inherently, that's kind of what we want for everyone, which is why we so passionately pursue these things and like have these beliefs and these get involved in like moral debates or political debates or whatever the case may be. It's because at the end of the day, we really believe that these things will make the world better, which is better for everyone. But I like how they're kind of broadening that out into the various ways in which people can be manipulated because of their passions and because of an inherently altruistic belief that is so twisted into like, as with Emerald, like, oh yeah, just screw up this tournament. Like it sounds like it's not such a big deal. You just screw up the tournament a little bit and it'll be fine. But like, then all of this stuff happens and people are dying and you just see her going like, I never realized it would be this. Like, you know, and you have Blake who was involved in that like revolutionary movement who was like, you know, I went into it for this because we were being treated bad. I wanted us to have equality. I wanted us to have rights, which is all wonderful. And then like in this particular faction, it got warped in a terrible way that she was like, this is not what I signed up for. I don't want like a bloodshed revolution. I just want equal rights. Like that's not a big ask.
Yeah.
And so I like how they're kind of showing the different responses to people who are in that world, but are smart enough and have enough of their own humanity to not get so far radicalized.
My last award.
The last award. Let's hear it.
It's either called the Silver Lining Award or the Ray of Sunshine.
Okay.
Because this is why.
Yeah.
And because in that last episode, it felt like they brought in Zwei because they knew things were going to get serious. And like Ruby, who was like that lightheartedness before, is going to take a little bit more of a serious tone. And like, I think she's still going to keep her optimism. She's still going to keep her lightheartedness because she's Ruby. But at the same time, you know, things are getting serious. And like, there's Yang, her arms off, and everyone's like beaten. And Ruby and Weiss are going off to go try to save Pyrrha. And then there's Zwei with like shaking his little butt, his little tail.
A little corgi butt.
A little corgi butt and smiling. And it's like, okay, there's there's your happiness in this now that we're making things dark and bleak. There's a little bit of happiness and fun that you remember from the earlier parts.
I feel like Ruby is basically the human version of Swy in that like she's just like a puppy dog. Like even when things are going sideways, it's like, how can I help? Like how can I be there for you? Like I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, which is exactly what your dog does. Your dog is always happy to see you. Your dog doesn't care like if you had a bad day at work, if you had a bad day at school, how you voted in the last election, what God you pray. Like your dog is just like, I'm here. Like I'm here for you. What are we doing? They're always happy to see you. They're always ready to jump in. They're ready for a party whenever you are.
Yeah.
And I think like Ruby is that. And when she has to become a bit more of the leader that she's growing into because it is going to get heavier, I think you're exactly right. They gave us Swy just to remind us like, but don't forget like, this is Ruby too. Like this is just Ruby in dog form because Ruby is a dog in human form and like she's happy-go-lucky and she's here and she's ready. And I like that Swy stuck around with Yang instead of following Ruby into the fight because it's kind of like, and I feel like dogs know this, they kind of know where they're needed. And he recognized now like Yang needs me. So while I want to go and party with Ruby and beat up the bad guys, I'm gonna stay here with Yang because this is where I'm needed.
And so tomorrow we're gonna have part 2, which is another hour conversation where we talk more about Ruby. No, there's lots to talk about, and so it was great, and so really enjoyed this season. We're gonna continue with season 4, and yeah, continue with Ruby. And if you want all of our Ruby reactions, check out the description of this video. We got a playlist there for you. So if you want early ad-free access to our Ruby reactions, we got a link down below in the description of this video to our Patreon. We post it like, 4 or 5 at a time. We do it at the beginning of the month. So, when this airs, it should be like, it might already be up by the time this airs. Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for Ruby Volume 3, Episode 12. But just keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.
Tapira.
Tapira.